Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. 1 full hour of wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
And welcome back, Las Vegas, to the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. The talk of Las Vegas is the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. I am Mark Hoke. Going in alone today, but that's all good. Stuff happens. But, of course, getting ready to attend WrestleDream in Seattle at the Climate Pledge Arena. Should be a terrific night up in the Pacific Northwest. Very excited. Actually going to be my first trip to Seattle, believe it or not. Been to most of the other states in the country, but that was one that kind of dodged me. So pretty excited to be headed up there, taking my daughter along as well. So we will be credentialed media for that one. That should be a great, great evening up in Seattle. And, of course, once again, we want to thank Swerve Strickland for coming on the show. We really do appreciate him taking the time out to do an interview with us. That interview is up on YouTube. It's also on markhokeshow.podbean.com. And, of course, it'll be part of the regular podcast as well. So if you want to check it out, you can go there. And, of course, don't forget about that Odyssey app as well. You can just rewind the show if you missed something and check it out. So download the Odyssey app. We've got all our shows up there as well. So we'd certainly appreciate you doing that. But, boy, I'll tell you, what an amazing day this is going to be up in Seattle. Tony Khan saying this is going to be a new era in AEW. And some people are considering that to mean, well, we've got the new pay-per-views. We're starting to go to doing one every month instead of doing the 4 a year. And, of course, AEW Full Gear is coming up in mid-November, but we could also have a new arrival in All Elite Wrestling tonight, as WWE Hall of Famer Edge may be making his debut tonight. Of course, if you are not aware of that situation, Edge's contract ran out at the end of September, so as of yesterday, he was a free man to do whatever he wanted. And, of course, his best buddy Christian is the TNT champion. So a lot of people are speculating that Edge is going to be showing up tonight at WrestleDream. And, of course, WWE has also, by the way, taken him out of their open on Friday Night Smackdown. So they've pretty much thrown in the towel on Edge, I guess. So we'll see what happens tonight. That is going to be very intriguing. And, of course, we're wondering, what is going to be the main event tonight at WrestleDream? Because there's so many different matches. What's going on last? The first match announced was Bryan Danielson against Zack Sabre Jr., two of the greatest technical wrestlers in the world. But a lot of people are thinking that they may be saving the TNT Championship match between Christian and Seattle's own Darby Allin, who will be looking for his 4th TNT title, for the final match. Who knows? This is going to be a fascinating evening, and we're going to take a little time and run down the card for you. And, of course, we'll get to some WWE news as well. But an AEW's WrestleDream is front and center tonight as we get ready for a great card coming up from Seattle. Let's run that down for you. We have the Acclaimed, the AEW 6-man tag team champions, and Billy Gunn, of course, will be teaming up to take on, well, this is a team that, we're actually here in Vegas at least familiar with one of these guys, and you'll know a couple of the other ones. But the Mighty Don't Kneel stable is going to be taking these guys on this evening, and they've been operating out of Japan. This is Shane Haste, Mikey Nichols, and Bad Dude Tito. And for those of you that follow Future Stars of Wrestling here in Las Vegas, you've seen a lot of Bad Dude Tito. But Shane Haste is one of the interesting guys because he was one of those that got stuck in that ridiculous horrendous stable in WWE known as Retribution, he got to play Slapjack. And we're not even going to say it again. Shane Haste had to, well, now we'll say it again, had to play Slapjack. Of course, that Retribution stable went absolutely nowhere, was a complete disaster, but he has managed to revitalize his career in New Japan, and he will be making an appearance in this one, taking on the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. And right now, betting odds on this one have the Acclaimed easily winning this one. The Acclaimed are a minus 2,000, taking on the Mighty Don't Kneel, as they will be defending the AEW Trios title tonight. Wouldn't expect anything big to come out of that, except a pretty good match. So that'll be one of the first matches on the card this evening. And then we get into next one on the board, Luchasaurus, the former TNT champion who somehow seems satisfied that his mentor stole his title away, will be taking on another Pacific Northwest guy, Nick Wayne, the 18-year-old prodigy. Smaller guy taking on the big dinosaur. Not sure how well this is going to go for Nick tonight, but it will be Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus. But Nick Wayne is the favorite on this one. They've betonline.ag's got him at minus 300. I don't know about that, but maybe he'll steal it away. It is one of those hometowners, a bunch of guys from the Pacific Northwest on this WrestleDream card tonight. So it should be pretty interesting to see what happens in that one, if Nick Wayne's going to get his first really big win in AEW. We already mentioned Bryan Danielson taking on Zack Sabre Jr., and boy, I'll tell you, what a match this is going to be. If you love pro wrestling, these are two of the best to maybe ever do it. And can't begin to state enough just the magnitude of this match happening. This is one of the reasons that Bryan Danielson went to AEW. He wanted to wrestle a lot of these guys from New Japan. He wanted to be taking on the guys like Kenny Omega. He wanted to be taking on the guys like Okada. And now he gets Zack Sabre Jr. They haven't wrestled for a very long time. And Bryan Danielson will be taking on Zack Sabre Jr. tonight. Danielson is the favorite in this match, as Danielson will be looking to take down Zack Sabre Jr. Danielson minus 500. And by the way, if you're wondering how I'm getting these betting odds, well, go betonline.ag. All you have to do, go to markhokeshow.com and click on our banner. That gets us over there. You can start up an account and you get a terrific matching bonus, 50%, up to a $1,000 deposit. So you can get a free $500 and you can bet on pro wrestling. It's pretty cool. So go to markhokeshow.com and do that, please. And, get involved on betonline.ag, and you can bet on just about anything: football, basketball, cricket, table tennis. They have everything. It's a pretty cool site, so make sure you check that out. All right, back to the WrestleDream card. That aforementioned match with Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland getting a chance to shoot it out here on AEW WrestleDream. And boy, I'll tell you, what a huge match this is going to be. And I'm excited for Swerve. This is one that I think he's been waiting for a very, very long time. And Swerve Strickland, if he wins this tonight, gets propelled into a new stratosphere in AEW, I think. And I'd really like to see this. I think it would be fun to see Swerve continue to make a run. And if you haven't seen Swerve for a while, of course, he was in NXT as was the North American champion there for a little bit. But if you haven't seen him for a while, I would highly recommend this could be one to keep an eye on. So should be a lot of fun with Swerve Strickland taking on Hangman Adam Page. He is the betting favorite, minus 300. The Hangman, the former AEW World Champion, at a plus 200. So we'll see. But I'm liking Swerve tonight. And it's not just because he came on the show. But I think it would be a good move for AEW to continue his push forward. We then have the AEW World Tag Team Championships up for grabs as the team that many think is the best in professional wrestling right now. And I might not disagree with that. FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood will be defending the AEW World Tag Team Championships against the former Ring of Honor champions, Aussie Open. And you would think that FTR should be a big favorites on this, but FTR, I don't know. Is there an upset in the making? Did you take those belts off Aussie Open in Ring of Honor to give them a shot here at WrestleDream and become the AEW World Tag Team Champions? Probably not. But it's still going to be a really fun match to watch. FTR just knows what they're doing. Aussie Open's such an underrated tag team. FTR is a minus 1,000 betting favorite on this. Aussie Open plus 500. So a lot of the experts think that FTR will be coming out of there still the AEW World Tag Team Champions. We then have another tag team title on the line, but this one is going to be a little bit bizarre. The Righteous will be trying to take the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships away from, well, it was Better Than You, baby. But with Adam Cole's ankle injury, where he's going to be having to have surgery and be out for a while, MJF refused to relinquish the belts, and he will be defending them on his own against Vincent and Dutch. And if you say, well, who's Vincent and Dutch? They're pretty darn good. Have been Ring of Honor staples for a while. And if you haven't seen these guys, they are doing some terrific stuff, some great promos, awesome in-ring work. And they are certainly worthy of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. And I would venture to say that unless MJF gets some help tonight, and I wonder if it'll come from an unlikely source in Roderick Strong, which would be, kind of pulling those two frenemies together. Of course, Adam Cole, best buddies with both of these guys. Roderick not happy about it. It would certainly make for a very interesting dynamic if Roderick Strong came out to help MJF defend the titles in the absence of his best friend, Adam Cole. So we'll see what happens with this 2-on-1 handicap match tonight for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. 6-man match. And boy, do you have some talent in this one. Holy cow. Chris Jericho and the Golden Elite. That is Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi taking on the Don Callis family, which has grown again. Will Ospreay, Takeshita, and now Sammy Guevara, who turned on Chris Jericho and is now with Don Callis. And Don Callis, probably the number 2 heat magnet in pro wrestling right now, just behind Dominic Mysterio, trying to lead these guys to a victory. And I would probably say that the Don Callis family is going to come out on top on this. Of course, you have 6 fantastic wrestlers in there, and it's going to be fun to see Will Ospreay. And if you're new to pro wrestling and you haven't seen much of Will, boy, I'll tell you, he is something else. And he and Chris Jericho had a terrific match at All In. And looking forward to this one, too. Some great 6-man action. But I'm going to go with the Don Callis family to pick up the victory in this match coming up at WrestleDream. And, of course, this is the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas, as we, of course, are breaking down the WrestleDream card that'll be happening up in Seattle tonight for All Elite Wrestling. So it should be a terrific evening. And, of course, once again, if you aren't familiar with getting an AEW pay-per-view, available on Bleacher Report and all your favorite pay-per-view outlets. So I would suggest checking it out. And once again, you can go see that in theaters usually around here, too. So, check your local theater listings, and you can watch AEW WrestleDream. I'm going to be there. I can't wait. First trip up to Seattle. It should be a lot of fun. And I'll tell you what we're going to do is we're going to step back and take a little break. And when we return, we're going to run down through the rest of this card of AEW WrestleDream. Some more championships being decided. Some number 1 contenders coming up. And, of course, later on in the show, we got to talk about John Cena. Oh, my God. He found a partner, everybody. He is now no longer alone against the Bloodline. Stick around. We got a lot more on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN. We'll be right back.
Now, let's return to the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
And we are back on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas, as we get ready for AEW WrestleDream. And, of course, we'll be breaking down some more news in the world of pro wrestling. But we have a terrific pay-per-view coming up tonight in Seattle as we get ready for what Tony Khan is saying is the start of a new era in All Elite Wrestling. And we heard from Swerve Strickland, he's buying it. And I'll tell you what, Tony probably has some big surprises up his sleeve. And, you know, unfortunately, the ticket sales for this have been a little bit light, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't watch it. I don't know what everybody's doing up in Seattle. I don't know if they're all dreary and sad. You know, I don't think the rains have been hitting too hard up there yet. But, you know, get out there and get your tickets, guys. And if you're here in Las Vegas or anywhere else, you might just want to watch this pay-per-view, because I have a feeling something big's going to happen this evening. Because I don't think that Tony Khan, even though Edge would be the huge surprise, Tony is not one to have one surprise on his show. He always likes to throw out a few curveballs on here, and of course paying homage to Antonio Inoki on the anniversary of his passing last year. That's what this pay-per-view is in honor of, and it should be a pretty special night in Seattle for AEW WrestleDream. All right, continuing down the card, the next one we got listed is Christian Cage defending the AEW TNT Championship against Seattle's own Darby Allin. Allin, of course, a three-time AEW TNT champion. He'll look to win it for the fourth time. He has just been getting tortured by Christian and Luchasaurus. And this one's going to be a best of three falls, too. So you know there's room for hijinks and shenanigans in that one. But, of course, everybody's wondering if Edge is going to show up and have something to say about this one. It's going to be a very entertaining match this evening between the two of them. Pretty much dead even. BetOnline.ag has these guys both at minus 120. So no one knows how this is going to turn out. If Edge would show up, would he spear Darby Allin? Or would he come out and twist his buddy Christian like a pretzel? I don't know. We'll find out. But this is going to be a potential main event match for the evening. And we'll see what happens with Christian Cage taking on Darby Allin. Also on the card, the Ring of Honor World Champion. Also, the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion. Eddie Kingston will be making his first defense since he won the Ring of Honor title against Katsuyori Shibata, one of his idols, best friends in pro wrestling. And, of course, could this be the one that New Japan scores big on? I don't know about that. I think Eddie's kind of got a little bit too much popularity happening for him to take the loss here. But it still should be a sensational match between Kingston and Shibata. I know they're both very excited about having this match. But Eddie Kingston defending both of his championships. Kind of surprised. You would have thought maybe he would just do one, but he's going to do both. Kingston a heavy favorite in this one. A minus 1,000 to Shibata's plus 500. So smart money is on Kingston, and I would agree. I think that's the way I would go as well, with Eddie Kingston winning this match. Chris Statlander, who has now not only dispatched Jade Cargill, but has sent her off to WWE. Boy, that's going to be something if Chris ever goes to WWE with Cargill and they get to hook it up again somewhere down the road. But right now, Chris Statlander is going to be defending her AEW TBS championship against a wrestler who hasn't lost for quite a while, Julia Hart. Of course, a member of the House of Black. She's going to have the big man, Brody King, by her side as she tries to take the AEW TBS championship off Chris Statlander. Intriguing match. Of course, Julia, very young, but has evolved that character from being the cheerleader to the witch. And she is doing a fantastic job. And, it's been looking pretty good in the ring. I don't think it's going to be enough tonight for them to decide to put her over on Chris Statlander. Statlander is the betting favorite at minus 750 on betonline.ag. Julia Hart plus 400. So Statlander the favorite, and I would agree. I think Statlander is going to be the one to walk out with the TBS championship. We have a 4-way tag match for a future AEW World Tag Team Championship shot. Oh, here we go again. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. Nick coming off his big win on Dynamite, or he won a shot at the AEW International title. The Bucks will take on another former AEW World Tag Team Championship team, the Guns, Austin and Colton, of course, the sons of Billy Gunn. Another former AEW World Tag Team Championship holder, the Lucha Brothers, Rey Fenix, who is the AEW International Champion, and Penta El Cerro Miedo with their manager, Alex Abrantes. Guy I really like, by the way. Just does a great job at ringside. They will also be hooking it up here. Well, that's a pretty good way to put it, against the former AEW International Champion, Orange Cassidy, and Hook, the son of Taz. So those 4 teams will be battling it out for a shot at the AEW World Tag Team Championship. You got 3 former champions, and you got Cassidy and Hook. Who do I like? You know what? I'm calling the upset. I'm going to say that Orange Cassidy and Hook are going to win this. This one's kind of a crapshoot. Right now, they've got the Bucks plus 100, the Guns plus 200, Orange Cassidy and Hook are plus 200, Lucha Brothers plus 800. They're going to be a little busy, obviously, with Rey Fenix holding the International Championship. But this is going to be a wild match, and certainly you get a Young Bucks match. This is right up their alley. Chaos and craziness and some really interesting spots, to say the least. But I'm going to go with Orange Cassidy and Hook to pull the upset on this one. So get ready for that one. It should be a wild battle at WrestleDream. And then the last match that is listed right now, Ricky Starks, who has just been getting these brutal matches with Bryan Danielson. The strap match, the Texas Death match, and Ricky, I'll tell you, Ricky's not looking good right now. Very handsome guy, but looking like he went about 25 rounds with Rocky. Will be taking on Wheeler Yuta from the Blackpool Combat Club. And that match was just put together this week on Dynamite. And this will be something to see. Because, you know, Yuta has been taking a few losses lately. I'm sure the BCC's not really happy about that. And Ricky Starks has been getting beat up in the hands of Bryan Danielson. I'm going to go with Ricky Starks on this one. Would expect that he deserves a win after what he's gone through, for sure. Starks is the betting favorite at minus 1,000 against Wheeler Yuta plus 500. Oh, and by the way, I did forget to mention the betting odds on the Sammy Guevara, Will Ospreay, Takeshita against Chris Jericho in the Golden Lovers match. Guevara's team, of course, the Don Callis family, is the favorite minus 300 against Jericho and the Golden Lovers plus 200. And once again, just to remind you, if you are interested in hopping on betonline.ag, just go to the Mark Hoke Show, go to markhoakshow.com and click on the banners for betonline.ag and then sign up for a membership. You get a 50% matching bonus up to $1,000. So you get $500 extra potentially if you sign up. And like I said, you can bet on wrestling. You can bet on, they have everything on here. Badminton, darts, politics, whatever you want to fire away on. All you degens out there, you got it on betonline.ag. So make sure you get on over there and take a look at the site. We would certainly appreciate that. That helps us out a lot. We also, just running down a little bit of news from AEW, of course, just a reminder, a lot of people are wondering if Adam Cole's injury is not real. Well, that's pretty much been confirmed that he is busted up. But pretty tough situation for Adam Cole, just as he was getting going. So, of course, the big story tonight is going to be, will Edge show up at AEW WrestleDream this evening? We'll see. I have a feeling we could be in for a heck of a surprise tonight from Seattle. Then we are getting ready for WWE Fastlane, as that card is starting to shape up just a little bit, as we now have 3 matches on that card. Seth Rollins has managed to convince Shinsuke Nakamura to wrestle him for his own World Heavyweight Championship. Shinsuke is in the head of our good buddy Seth Rollins. So Rollins and Nakamura getting ready to face off. Io Sky, well, Bayley lost to Charlotte Flair. All hell broke loose in the match. Asuka came out, and just for fun, Bayley said, let's make that match a triple threat for you, Io. Charlotte Flair's not enough. You get Asuka too. And of course, she was thrilled. So kind of a little bit of mistake there for our friend Bayley, as Io Sky will now have to face off with Asuka and Charlotte Flair in the triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship. We also have John Cena, who challenged the Bloodline, but his partner AJ Styles got hurt, so we don't know who that partner is until SmackDown last night. It is going to be LA Knight. That's right. LA Knight is going to be teaming up with John Cena. John was thrilled to death if you watch the broadcast. Yeah, he was a little peppy on that one. But John Cena and LA Knight will now be taking on the Bloodline. And kind of a win for everybody, because the fans wanted to see LA Knight going up the card a little bit and taking on somebody big here, and just finished up with The Miz. But now he's going to be in with the big boys and getting a chance to get a rub from John Cena, as he'll be facing off with Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa at WWE Fastlane. That is coming up from Indianapolis on October 7th. That is a Saturday. So should be a lot of fun with that one as that card begins to finally take shape. But John Cena is going to be facing off with the boys from the Bloodline. Gotta wonder if Roman Reigns is going to have anything to say about that one. Should be quality entertainment there from the Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. And, of course, a lot of people are talking about the Jade Cargill signing as she's getting ready to head on over to WWE. Of course, a lot of people are very intrigued to see where she is actually going to end up on the roster. Most of the rumors are saying that Jade is going to start off on NXT, and I speculated that would be a great setup for her to face off with Becky Lynch, who got sent down there to help out a little bit, and she's the current NXT champion. So Jade Cargill showing up in there and taking on Becky Lynch would certainly be very interesting. I would think that it would be some great work for Jade to kind of, clean up the rough edges a little bit. She's very raw. She's only wrestled about 50 some odd matches in her professional wrestling career in AEW before she's come to WWE. But I'll tell you what a physical specimen, and the world is just at that woman's feet. That will be something to see, as Becky Lynch, could she be defending her NXT championship at some point against Jade Cargill? Well, it's possible now, so we'll see how that turns out. And I'll tell you what, we are going to head to break here in just a second. We just want to remind everybody, if you're out driving around in Las Vegas and you're hungry, well, geez, what are you doing? Get on over there to Unique Eats, 3100 South Durango, Suite 100. Awesome breakfast. Dominic Tedesco, terrific cook, internationally known pizza chef, among so many other things that he cooks, pastas, sandwiches. They have everything over there. So if you are looking to have a great meal, go on over to Unique Eats, 3100 South Durango, Suite 100. Stop in and tell them the Mark Hoke Show sent you, and say hi to our friend Dominic Tedesco. All right, we've got one more segment of the Mark Hoke Show coming up for you, so stick around. We've got a whole lot more of pro wrestling news and entertainment coming at you on the best of pro wrestling in Las Vegas. The Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN. Stick around, everybody. One more round We'll be right back.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
And we return for the final segment of the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. And it is going to be an amazing weekend here in the world of pro wrestling as we get ready for tonight's big AEW WrestleDream pay-per-view. It's the first version of this pay-per-view, Tony Khan calling it a new era in All Elite Wrestling as they begin to expand their pay-per-view calendar from the 4 pay-per-views to monthly, maybe more, we'll see. But pretty interesting night coming up at the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, and I'm going to be there. Can't wait. Should be a terrific time, and I'm excited to take my daughter to this one, too. We've had a pretty rough few weeks, and it's going to be a lot of fun to take Amanda up to Seattle. My first trip up to Seattle as well, so can't wait. I want to thank AEW for allowing Swerve Strickland to be a part of our show. Did a terrific interview with him. As you heard earlier on the show, we do have that up on our podcast site, markhokeshow.podbean.com. The visual interview that we live streamed it as well is up on our YouTube channel. Just go to the Mark Hoke Show on YouTube and you'll get to see us chatting with Swerve Strickland. And what a great interview that was. A very, very interesting person. Had no idea the depth of thought that he puts into what he's doing, and just some next level stuff in pro wrestling. Very impressive. So make sure you check that out. Of course, if you want to just rewind on the Odyssey app, you can do that too. So download that Odyssey app today, and you can check out our show. You can check out great shows like, our Sports X Radio with Ken Thompson, which I produce here on KDAWN as well. So, take a look and download that app. There's a ton of terrific programming on there from all over the country. So check that out, the Odyssey app. Now, some other WWE news, we'll get into that, as just Judgment Day is having all sorts of interesting issues on Monday Night Raw. JD McDonough, who's been trying to find his way into the group, had all sorts of issues in a little promo with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and was causing problems. Damian Priest wasn't too happy. But then JD McDonough helped him retain the tag team championships against the former champs Owens and Zayn. So who knows what's going to happen with JD McDonough. A lot of people thought Finn Balor might be the one getting kicked out of this group, but could it be Damian Priest? Boy, you'd have to be crazy to kick out the guy who's holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, which gives you an automatic shot at a WWE championship. But who knows? Wilder things have happened in WWE. Dominic Mysterio also managed to successfully defend his North American Championship against Dragon Lee. So Dominic Mysterio, the Heat Magnet, Poppy, continues his role in WWE. We had a beefy battle. Bronson Reed knocking off Otis in that one. Tegan Nox also defeated Natalya. Tommaso Ciampa, looks like they're going to be setting him up to take on Gunther for the Intercontinental title. Well, he took on Ludwig Kaiser, knocked him off, which set up the match with Gunther. So Tommaso Ciampa should be another hard-hitting match with him and Gunther. Shinsuke Nakamura, we mentioned him earlier. He has accepted Seth Rollins' challenge for a rematch, even though Rollins is the champion. That's pretty interesting. Nia Jax knocked off Zoe Stark. And Drew McIntyre, he's getting a little, I don't know. Drew's kind of getting a little spitfire going in there as he knocked off Kofi Kingston. And boy, I'll tell you, Drew is not real happy about a lot of things going on in WWE right now. And of course, his contract status is still up for grabs from what everybody's been saying. But Drew McIntyre defeated Kofi Kingston on Monday Night Raw this week. Of course, SmackDown, we mentioned John Cena made it official, and he's going to be teaming up with LA Knight to take on the Bloodline. Bobby Lashley, this interesting storyline going on with the Street Profits. Of course, a lot of people thought that those three were going to be a unit, but Bobby Lashley wasn't real happy with something that happened with Angelo Dawkins a little while ago, and Lashley kind of called the Street Profits out, but they're going to try and make it up to Bobby. So that would be a terrific stable if they hold that together, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, for sure. Austin Theory knocks off Cameron Grimes. So Austin Theory trying to rebound from losing his U.S. title. Of course, Rey Mysterio was the man that took that title from him, and they had a great match. He had a great match against Santos Escobar. So Rey Mysterio retains his U.S. title, but got a little action from the Street Profits on that. So we'll see if Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins get into that mess. And then, of course, we mentioned Charlotte Flair and Bayley doing their thing. Flair winning that match and Bayley flipping out and just pulling Asuka in after Asuka came out to the ring. And now Io Sky's going to have to defend against Asuka and Charlotte Flair at WWE Fastlane on October 7th. So she cannot be too happy about that. And while we have a second, just want to remind everybody about the Cauliflower Alley Club. Of course, it's wrestling's oldest and premier charity where you can help out the people that have entertained you for so many years. Just go to caulifloweralleyclub.org and get your membership today. It's $25 per year, or you can sign up for a lifetime membership as well. Your donations go straight to helping people from the wrestling industry who have fallen on hard times. It's a terrific charity. And of course, we were part of the 57th annual Cauliflower Alley Club reunion show here in Las Vegas at the Plaza. We're going to be back next year as well. And we'd really like to have you support the CAC. So if you could go to caulifloweralleyclub.org and get a membership today, or just make a donation, whatever you want to do, we'd certainly appreciate it. Once again, it's caulifloweralleyclub.org. Some other stuff happening in the world of pro wrestling, too. We had an interesting statement from Shawn Michaels. That's right. Of course, Shawn is now running WWE NXT, and he said that he would like to have CM Punk come back and would really like to work with him on NXT. Interesting comments from one of the bad boys of wrestling. He said, I always enjoy working with Phil. Again, I didn't get to do it too much, but I don't know. I'll say this. I understood him. I think that there were, whether you want to say there were similarities in us, look, I can't lie. He once again, we were at TV and he once pulled out of his wallet right there on the spot, a little autograph that I guess I'd apparently signed for him in a hotel that he still had. So I always liked him. So pretty interesting comments from Shawn Michaels, also saying he's a guy that does numbers and makes money. I think that would be a risk-reward ratio that I'm sure from a company standpoint they'd have to consider. But when it comes to, would we take him in NXT and have him on our television? Are you kidding me? Of course I would. I just don't think anybody would let me. And that would be the trick. Of course, a lot of people speculating whether CM Punk is going to be making a return at Survivor Series in Chicago right around Thanksgiving. And, of course, such a difficult decision, I think, for WWE because there's a lot of people still have a bad taste in their mouth from when CM Punk was there before, and obviously causing all these issues at AEW, and whether you want to blame him or anybody else, he was at the center of it. So a lot of people very curious to see if CM Punk makes a return to WWE. Certainly, as Shawn Michaels said, I think a very valid point. It is a risk reward. You know, do you bring him in and risk messing up the locker room, or do you think you can handle it and make a ton of money with CM Punk coming into the mix? Also, certainly would throw a lot of plans off too, because you're not just going to hide CM Punk on the mid card. He's a main event guy. So does Cody Rhodes get pushed aside if CM Punk comes into the fold? Who knows? LA Knight's another guy that would certainly not benefit from CM Punk returning, at least in terms of storylines. But you never know. Maybe Punk decides to put LA Knight over. But more speculation about CM Punk coming back to WWE. Now, of course, we also have this story about Matt Riddle, who got released from WWE. And boy, I'll tell you, they are just, people are coming out and saying they weren't real happy with Matt Riddle, talking about a lot of heat on him as he has been shipped away from World Wrestling Entertainment, discussing a particular promo that happened, that he went off script, in which he talked up his RK Bro partner Randy Orton and the back pain he'd been dealing with, but they hadn't really discussed any injuries or anything like that. They were not happy. And the promo was praised going behind the scenes for being real, but it wasn't he was supposed to do. And of course, Riddle's had a ton of issues with drugs, and Dana White even came out. And if you didn't hear that interview that Dana had a while back about Matt Riddle when he was working for UFC, Dana just couldn't believe that the guy just wouldn't stop taking drugs and smoking marijuana and costing himself a massive amount of money. Of course, he was making around $140,000 in UFC, and unfortunately, decided to, headed over to WWE, but I'm sure he probably would have rather have the UFC thing work out. And of course, there's a lot of people out there that are interested in bringing him in to work. MMA promotions across the country are looking to try and see if he can do it. But whether he's burned too many bridges is a very interesting story. But according to Dave Meltzer, he says, I do know that Riddle has gotten at least one major MMA promotion, if not more, that are interested in bringing him back to MMA. So could we be seeing Matt Riddle back inside an octagon? Who knows? But that is an interesting possibility for him as he gets ready to take on the next phase of his life, and just, hope Matt, gets himself clean, straightened out, and, gets on the right path. But Matt Riddle maybe headed back to the octagon. There was another interesting story that came out about WWE performers going to AEW, and very, very intriguing to say the least, that many of them felt like that AEW was considered a step down. And AEW is the number 2 promotion right now. I don't think anybody would put them on the level of WWE in terms of their global influence, attendance and so on. But a lot of people felt like that it was a step back if you had to go to AEW or weren't working for WWE. Dave Meltzer also reported on this that some talents didn't see working in AEW as a positive, called it a step down. And Meltzer said that talking about wrestlers who were wanting to go back to WWE, there are several that you get the impression that they can't wait to get back to WWE, see it as the major league if they can get an offer when their AEW deal expires. And some asked for releases last year after Vince McMahon retired, and Paul Levesque garnered a stronger role. And that was a very interesting topic that we had dealt with on the show before. And of course, you can go back and check it out at markhokeshow.podbean.com and see how that all panned out. But a lot of people, once Vince was out of there, wanted to go back because they felt like it was Vince's fault that they weren't around, and got sent packing from World Wrestling Entertainment. So Vince McMahon being out of there, everybody was like, hey, I want to go back. And then all of a sudden Vince came back, and they're kind of like, okay, I think we're okay over here. So pretty intriguing statements from some wrestlers to Dave Meltzer about being a part of AEW and kind of looking down on it a little bit. Of course, don't forget, coming up this week, or this week tonight, AEW WrestleDream pay-per-view, going to be live from Seattle. You want to check that out, just go on Bleacher Report and all your favorite pay-per-view outlets, and you can watch AEW WrestleDream. Of course, a ton of great matches up there, and Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland. We've got Darby Allin taking on Christian, and of course the possibility that Edge may be making a return to that that Edge may be making a return to AEW. It's going to be a really intriguing night from Seattle, so I'd highly recommend you check it out. And once again, I want to thank AEW for having Swerve Strickland on the show. And that is going to wrap it up for us here on the Mark Hoke Show. We want to thank you for joining us here today. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show, markhokeshow.com, and of course, markhokeshow.podbean.com for all your archives. Great episodes up there. And of course, the YouTube channel, The Mark Hoke Show. Thanks for being with us, everybody, today. We'll see you next time, Las Vegas, and have a great time watching AEW WrestleDream today. I'm Mark Hoke. Have a great day.